It is a wonderful honor and a wonderful joy and a wonderful blessing to have you all here with us, our beautiful international yoga festival family. We had the official inauguration this morning, and yet it truly is on the banks of Mother Ganga at our evening sacred Yagna and Aarti ceremony that things are begun with auspiciousness, with holiness, and with sacredness. So in many ways, this gathering is actually our official inauguration. Each evening, you will notice on your schedule, we have this time from 6 to 7 of our sacred Ganga Aarti. And of course, this takes place every evening at sunset throughout the year. We begin with the sacred Yagna ceremony, which takes place at 5:30 in the evenings. So you should all feel free to come down here and to be part of the Yagna ceremony. It's probably the most traditional, common, ancient, and sacred ceremony in the Indian spiritual tradition. Fire is a purifier. Whatever goes into fire becomes purified. If we wanted even just, for example, to sterilize a needle, the easiest and quickest way to do that is to light a match, stick the needle in the match, and it's immediately sterilized. So that fire is a purifier. But of course, not just on a physical level, because the Yagna fire symbolizes not just the physical fire, but it symbolizes the divine fire, the true and divine purifier, which really is that divine. By whatever name, whatever form, whatever religion, whatever culture we come from, it doesn't matter. Pujya Swamiji always reminds us that if God can only be worshipped in one way, by one name, in one form, then it's not God. As the Creator, the divine is infinite. So are the ways of worshiping that divine Creator. So whatever your religion, whatever your culture, whatever your language, however you envision the divine, however you connect with the divine, we come and in this Yagna ceremony, we offer into the fire all of that within us which needs to be purified. Not the core of who we are, because according to the Indian spiritual tradition, at the core, the essence, each of us is divine. Each of us is created by and created of the Creator. And yet, on top of that purity, on top of that divinity, on top of that infiniteness of the true self, we dump things like our ego, our anger, our grudges, our pain, our temptations, our obstacles, all of these things that make us forget actually that we are divine and whole and complete and pure and perfect. So when we come to the Yagna fire and place the offerings in the flames, we simultaneously and symbolically offer that within ourselves, which is keeping us from remembering and living every minute of every day in that awareness, in that experience of divinity, of purity, of wholeness and completeness. And you'll notice we sit in a circle around the yagna. And the reason for that is to remind us that the whole point of life is not about being in the center or being in the spotlight. But the whole purpose of life is actually to be on the outside, offering and offering and offering. Lastly, there's so many beautiful symbols of the yagna fire, but just one last one I'll share with you. Lastly, you'll notice as we perform the ceremony that these flames of the fire always rise upward. It doesn't matter how deeply in the ground we may dig a hole and light a fire. Those flames always go up. And the reason for that is that the source of fire is the sun. And so it's always trying to return to its source. The source of water is the earth, the ocean. So no matter how high we take water and drop it, it will come back to its source. And it reminds us that our source is divinity, boundlessness, expansiveness, wholeness, completeness, purity, infinity. And that as we practice yoga, as we live yoga, it's not just about my muscles becoming flexible and strong. It's not just about my body, but it's actually about returning to my source, returning to my own source of union, of infiniteness, of boundlessness, of completeness and perfection. And of course, that's not something that comes from outside, because it's already who we are. So it's just a returning back to the truth of the nature of who we are. After the yagna ceremony, we have our sacred Ganga Aarti, which is just about to begin. And in the Aarti, we wave these beautiful oil lamps. And the Aarti is really, as Pujya Swamiji always says, a thanksgiving ritual. Because all day long, the divine bestows upon us the light of life, the light of grace, the light of blessings. And what can we give back to God? Nothing. But gratitude is such a crucial and beautiful aspect of our yoga practice. So this is like our gratitude ceremony, our Thanksgiving ceremony. And we offer back a small light as the symbol of our thanks and our love and our devotion. So as I said, every evening we gather here for this beautiful ceremony. And we really encourage you to come and to take part, because as I was saying this morning, Patanjali spoke about 8 limbs of yoga. And during the course of your classes and courses and lectures, we really try to offer you as much as we can in the first 7 limbs. The 8th limb is samadhi, which is that divine ecstasy, that bliss, that union. And of course, you can't really have a class in samadhi. But here on the banks of Ganga, by her grace, in the presence of our revered saints, as the air blows off the sacred Himalayas, by her grace, that experience of samadhi is possible.